Welcome back to album review.
Hello.
So what are we doing this week?
We're doing Currents by Tame Impala
Oh,
from
boy.
2015.
Oh, 10 years.
10 years ago.
Jeez, it's already been 10 years.
So, I don't really have much background for Tame Impala.
I don't really either. I know he's from Australia.
Yeah, it's a one-man show.
And for the longest time, I thought Tame Impala was like multiple people.
Yeah,
I did not
so-
know it was just one guy.
It's Kevin Parker is his name. He does a lot of stuff nowadays. Like, he collaborates with a lot of artists and helps produce and write with other artists.
Yeah, we've talked about him a couple times on this show before, but
Travis Scott, actually, like, he's done a lot of stuff with in recent years, and I think Lil Yachty as well, like, multiple hip-hop artists.
yeah, I think he... Yeah, I was thinking of some other artists, but no, those are the first two that I think
And that
of
album
recently.
with Justice that won a Grammy this year, it was a collab album with him as well. So he
still
won a
gotta listen
Grammy
to
this year, technically.
So yeah, he's still out there doing stuff.
Yeah. But I guess we'll get into it.
Yeah, let's get started.
13 tracks, and the first one is Let It Happen.
Probably one of the longest tracks. I
Yeah.
think it's a good one though. I think
It's good.
it sets the tone for the album. It's very like indie, like just chill vibes.
Yeah, it
Just
definitely.
a chill guy.
He's just a chill guy.
It is the longest track, and it did feel like it could have been shorter.
I
Like,
agree,
the
but
back half of the song was a little bit mostly the same for a while, but the longer feel to it, it also just gives it a certain feel when it's with the album as a whole. So I get it.
You know how I feel about long songs.
Yeah, I get it. Like, if
Not
there's
a fan.
any like negatives that I can even say about this album, that's gonna be one of the things, I guess.
Some
that
things could have been
It's a
shorter.
little bit longer than it needs to be in some spots, but
yeah,
the next track is Nangs. Don't know what that means.
it's an instrumental track, is all I know.
Yeah, it's just instrumental. It's basically just like an interlude, but it's about 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's chill.
It has a cool sound.
It
But
fits the vibe of the album very well.
He does actually. He sings in it, but it's just like the same phrase the whole time, kind of. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's some lyrics in there.
It just spaces it out.
Yeah.
But the next track is The Moment.
This is the moment.
I really liked this song.
Mm-hmm.
It's
It's a
giving
good one.
It's giving.
season.
It was very layered. Like, there was like the background vocals that were like a little bit muffled behind his actual vocals, and it sounded really good. And like on a lot of these songs, it's the bass for me that's like the driving force.
The bass is probably my favorite on this album.
Yeah, he is really like in your face, like energetic sounding bass that it sounds great with the other elements he adds. The next track is Yes, I'm Changing.
I like this one too.
I really like this song. This was a sleeper for one of my more favorite songs on the album,
Mhm.
actually. But
I'd
like,
say so.
I like how the sound he makes in a lot of his music, it's like feels nostalgic.
Yeah.
Like,
There's
kinda
gotta be like a
sad.
certain range for that, the nostalgic sound.
Yeah, it feels like kind of sad but kind of happy at the same time, and I don't know. That kind of music's just really cool to me when they can create that.
Yeah,
sound.
it's reminiscent of like when we did the Frank Ocean album too,
Yeah.
where some songs just have the nostalgic sound.
Definitely. It's hard to describe, but you kind of just know
Yeah.
when you hear it. But yeah, I don't know. This one had like really simple lyrics too, but I thought that the point of the song came across so well. Like,
Yeah.
he talks in very simple ways, but you can understand what he's trying to say because of that. So it's cool.
Yeah.
And then the next track is another one I really liked. Eventually,
I like that one too.
yeah, this one's cool. It's got like the big lead up to the chorus where like it's mostly stripped down and it's just like that synth in the background with him singing,
Mm-hmm.
and then like all the sound comes back in for the chorus. It sounds really cool.
Oh yeah. I like that one a lot.
And then the next track's more like interlude. It's Gossip.
Yeah. I like it a little less than the other interlude, but I still like
Yeah.
it.
This one I don't think had any lyrics or anything. I think it was just
Yeah.
instrumental.
This one was straight instrumental.
But it transitioned into the biggest song on the album and Tame Impala's most popular song, The Less I Know, The Better.
Yeah. I feel like everyone's probably heard this song at least once or twice.
Yeah. This
A
song
few
is...
times.
Yeah.
It's very popular for good reason, I think.
Oh, yeah.
It's-
The bass is great in the beginning.
Yeah.
And I love all the instrumentals in it.
The
as always.
guitar, the, like, how way he kind of like slides between the notes on it.
Mhm.
It's like an iconic sound at this point. It's a really cool song.
Oh yeah, not much more to say about it. I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's definitely one of them.
Yeah, like I think that I have other songs on the album that I like more just because I've known this song for so much longer.
Yeah.
But it makes sense that it went off the way that it did or has.
Mm-hmm.
And the next track is Past Life. This one also kind of feels almost like an interlude, but it is 3 minutes long.
Yeah. I could see this one being like a transition out of the big hit.
Yeah. But it's kind of like a guy talking about like running into a girl that he used to date, but it feels like it was so long ago that it's like it was a past life.
Yeah.
And like he wants to say something to her, but he doesn't know if he should, and then he's like debating on calling her, and then at the very end of the song, it's just a girl like hello.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like
He's a
I guess he
bitch.
gave in and called her at the end, but I thought that was kind of cool that thrown in at the end
Nah,
of the song.
he's a you know who.
Well, yeah, not that it's a good thing to do, but I thought that it was just
He's a bitch.
cool the way like you didn't know what he was gonna do, and then the song just ends hello, and you're like, oh well,
Well, you folded.
all for that for nothing.
Yeah. It's how it be. It's how it be though with people though.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people just can't. Yeah. We'll just leave it at that.
Disciples.
This is another
It's the
one of my
next track.
favorites actually. I really liked this one.
This one had like a filtered kind of sound at the beginning on the vocals again,
Mm-hmm.
and then like it cleared up and the verse came in. But this one, yeah, it was a cool vibe. It was a more fun sound.
Definitely. I liked that one a lot.
Next one is "Cause I'm a Man." This one was interesting.
Yeah.
I don't remember it.
He's like, "Cause I'm a man."
Yeah.
Because it's basically like, I don't know, like he just doesn't have any excuse for his actions. Like he kind of just makes the same mistakes over and over again. And
Men.
like he's hurting the person he's in a relationship with, and his excuse is just,
Men.
I'm a man. Like I don't have an excuse. Like we do things without thinking sometimes.
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Men.
Talks about like the impulsiveness of. It's really like a gender breakdown in a way. It's like
Kinda.
it's like exposing like yeah we say we do these things, but like we just don't learn from our mistakes. I mean
I
it's
need an excuse.
it's not even just like a men thing. It's like a humanity
Yeah,
thing.
it's
like,
a human thing, but it was the easiest way for him to.
Yeah, it's like a way of bridging the gap to make it more relatable to the listeners. It's like yeah, men say things, but then they don't actually like go off of it, or they change, or they just don't change at all.
It was basically just showing how like pride can be one of your biggest weaknesses. Like,
Oh, for sure.
kind of thing. Then the next track is Reality in Motion.
This is another one of my favorite. I think like the last few tracks are definitely some of my personal
Yeah,
favorites.
The run on the last part of the album I thought was the strongest part of the album.
Mm-hmm. Especially like I get the big hits are good too, but like something about like the last few tracks is just really
It
good.
ties the album together very well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this song had like a lot of synths on it, and I don't know. I just remember it had like the heavy drums and like the same energetic bass line as most of the other songs.
Yeah.
He has like he uses similar elements in a lot of the songs. But
Yeah.
they just kind of each have their own like mood to them.
Yeah, it's not to the point where like the songs blend too. I mean, you could argue that, but
Yeah.
no, like every song, like the instrumentation's a little different, and like there's different progressions.
And the content's different. In
And,
each song,
yeah.
too. Like he actually, there is substance behind the lyrics on these albums. So
Yeah, it's not just lyrics for lyrics' sake.
yeah, you can get stuff out of it. But the next track is Love/Paranoia.
I liked this one too.
I thought this one was really good too. This one was just like kind of going through the roller coaster of emotions of like a guy that's in love, and like you can kind of get so comfortable that you are doing certain things you don't realize you're doing that could be
Mhm.
hurting the other person. And then like towards the end of the song, he kind of like came to that realization, and like at the very end of the song he felt really guilty, and he was like just apologizing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was kind of relates to that "Cause I'm a Man" song, because just talking about like pride and like problems that you can have and not be self-aware of them, and then it's cool to see that he's like growing towards the end of the album and like
Period.
realizing.
Yeah.
And then the last track is "New Person, Same Old Mistakes."
So yeah,
So-
you can see the story kind of progressing here at the end of the album.
His
I
haircut's
think
a
it was
mistake.
really I think it was really like symbolic the way he placed the song in the album. Like he definitely did that intentionally, because the whole thing is about talking about your flaws and stuff, and then trying to grow through them, and then it seems like he's growing,
Mm-hmm.
and then the very end, it just comes back like same old mistakes.
Yeah, the cycle repeats. So
And
like,
even this song itself did that as well,
mm-hmm.
because like the first part of the song had the one sound to it, and then there was the bridge in the middle where it was like kind of felt like the climax of the album, like,
Yeah,
and then the same exact sound comes in for the last part of the song. So
the cycle continues.
yeah, it was really cool to me.
A lot more of a thought-provoking album, like, outside of, like, the first listen of it. Like, when you really listen to this album, there's a lot more into it.
Yeah, his music it has its place because like you could just throw it on and not really be listening to it, and it's just a nice background noise.
Yeah, it's a good vibe, but it's also a good, like, analysis.
Yeah, when you go into it, there's more to it, so it's cool.
You want to lead off with final thoughts?
Final thoughts, I really love this album. I know a lot of Tame Impala's music, but this is definitely the most popular album, and it's the track list I'm most familiar with, so that's the only reason I really chose it, but I really like this album. I mean, half the songs on the album I wasn't very familiar with because they weren't ones that I had like thrown in playlists or anything.
Yeah.
And going back to them, I liked even more tracks on this album than I remembered, so I had a great experience re-listening.
Mm-hmm. What are your final thoughts?
2 out of 10. No, I'm just kidding. It was good.
7 out of 10.
It's a reference to a different room.
Yeah,
It was
throwback.
It was a nice vibe. It was just very mellow.
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
I kind of tuned some of it out by accident, but that's why I was kind of not talking. I don't remember too much, but it was good. No complaints.
Were you one of the people that knew, like, the big hit going into this album?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
I mean, I'm
So-
sure
Heard
most
that a
people...
million times.
I'm
and
sure
from
most
him,
people have. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I play as Tame Impala sometimes. So.
Yeah. This is like one of those albums that most people who... I've heard this online a couple times. People say, like, I'm such a big rap fan, but I really like this album. This is
Yeah.
like that one album that people who mainly listen to rap like that's not rap. And I see why. It's a really good album, and it's a good, like, gateway into, like, indie and alternative music for people to discover that's not just rap.
For sure. It's kind of like the most mainstream indie music that I could think of.
Probably the most mainstream of the 2010s, at least.
Yeah.
Up there
of
with, like,
recent
Arctic
times.
Monkeys and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. I guess it's just not a genre that's as big now. Like, it kind of was a little more popular probably in, like, early 2000s.
It's starting to go a little more into the underground phase again, but, like, it still has a huge following.
Yeah.
Shall we go to scores?
Sure.
What do you got, Shant?
I think I'm going to give it a 9
Nice.
out of 10. I don't have any complaints other than I could see you, like, someone thinking that some of the songs were too long or that it dragged out a little bit. But, and that's probably the reason that I'm not giving it like a 9.5 or higher than that. But, yeah, I think I don't have any other complaints about the album. And I thought concept-wise it was great. Great topics. And it all flowed together so well. And it's just vibey music.
What do you got?
8 and what he said.
I'm gonna meet in the middle, 8.5. Like, very good album. I would give it a 9 or higher, but like, I could see like some of the songs just like
Good dragging that shit.
being dragging a little, like maybe some blending here and there. But I kind of disagree with that because every song has like its own unique take on it.
Yeah, but there's like some times where it's the same phrase repeated for a while, and you're like, you probably could have cut a couple repetitions off
Like,
of
shut
that.
up.
Yeah,
But I get it. Like I don't
Mhm.
really. I'm fine with that usually. I'm pretty patient with music. So.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'm not, but like usually I agree. Like usually if something's repetitious, but the sound continues to at least change or progress in the background while the
Yeah.
repetition's going on, it's usually a pretty good sound. But if
Feels
it's
like
just the
it's-
same shit,
Yeah.
then it gets tiring.
Certain songs feel like they're that long for a reason. And
Yeah.
You kind of.
The only one I kind of feel
Really
it's
into it.
not is the first track.
Right. Yeah.
That's why I say 8.5. Like, very good album. I'd recommend everybody listen to it, but it's not perfect.
Yeah. It was an interesting choice too to go with the longest track right on the intro.
Yeah.
It's not very common. I feel like.
I've seen it before, but I agree.
Yeah.
So, what have you got, Lid?
Let's go back to that rap. Fuck that deep shit.
Okay.
Um,
Rap can be deep, though.
This is not so deep.
Okay, fair enough.
So we got an album. It was released in 2018. It is Queen by Nicki Minaj.
Okay. I think you referenced this album last time you
I
were
did.
on.
Last time I picked an album, it was that or Billie Eilish, and I went with her. but we're going to rap. Bring it back.
Okay. I don't think I've actually ever listened to a Nicki album in full.
This is
So
one of
Me
my
either.
favorites, so y'all